Make transactions anywhere in the world with the NCBA Visa card and stand a chance to win big. Join the FIFA World Cup 2022 when you win an all-expenses-paid trip for you and your +1 to watch 2 games. Or win exciting weekly prizes that will make your FIFA viewing experience super duper. All it takes is a swipe or a tap to pay 2,000 Kenya shillings or more with your NCBA Visa debit or credit card. The more you swipe or tap to pay, the higher your chances of winning with 1 point for every 2,000 Kenya shillings spent. Don't miss out. NCBA. Go for it.
Before nilikuwa nafikiria chuma ni chuma. Wacha nikuambie.
Chuma ndio nyumba. Nyumba zetu zote tunatumianga chuma ya ndoshi.
With a lot of confidence and a doshi.
Doshi Steel. Chuma ya nguvu.
The National Cancer Institute of Kenya, NCIK, was established to coordinate a multi-sectoral response to the growing cancer burden through coordination of services provided in Kenya for the welfare and treatment of persons with cancer, coordination of cancer research, recommending measures to prevent discrimination against persons with cancer, educating the public on the rights of persons with cancer. All of us have a role to play in cancer prevention and control by accessing screening and diagnostic services in our referral hospitals. Let us join hands towards a cancer-free nation. The National Cancer Institute of Kenya, leading the cancer response in the country.
Do you know you stand the risk of disconnection if you have not updated your SIM registration details? Dial *106# to check your SIM registration status. If your details are not updated, dial *106# and select option 2 to get the self-update link. You will be required to upload your original ID image copy, both front and back. Alternatively, you can visit the nearest Airtel outlet. Remember, you only have until December 15th, 2022 to comply. This is a SIM regulation requirement as per the Communications Authority of Kenya. Airtel, the most affordable network.
Good evening, welcome to KBC Channel 1. I am Cynthia Nyamai. Now, in the news, we will be giving you details of the Kenyan President William Ruto in the US and the business people that he's been meeting. And in business, coffee reforms. Rioba has that story for you. That and more coming up shortly, but first, let us have the highlights. The US-Africa Summit, President William Ruto in roundtable with private sector, academia and innovators. Kawira Mangaza impeachment, Senate to hold a special sitting next week to determine the fate of the Meru governor. Sober festive season, government announces a major crackdown on unworthy PSVs. Austin. World Cup Eco KBC, that's the hashtag. And remember, we would like to hear from you. You can send us your comments and some of your views on our social media pages. That is on Instagram, on Twitter, and also on Facebook. The page is KBC Channel 1. Now, moving on, Conservation International, an American non-profit environmental organization, has committed to partnering with the government of Kenya in carbon removal project. Speaking during a roundtable at the Arizona State University, attended by President Dr. William Ruto, the firm said it will continue investing financial resources and technical assistance. The president further invited the U.S. tech firms to pursue emerging investment prospects in the Silicon Savannah, Konza Technopolis.
The government of Kenya is seeking partnership in transforming Kenya through digital transformation. President Dr. William Ruto, during a roundtable of government, private sector, academia and innovators, expressed Kenya's commitment to take deliberate action to prioritize digital transformation and strengthen its position as technology gateway to the larger Eastern and Central African region. President Ruto said Kenya will leverage on use of technology to tackle climate crisis.
Kenya has always, and more specifically at COP27, we express our commitment to leverage on every available tool, including technology, to tackle the climate crisis.
He invited U.S. tech firms to pursue emerging investment prospects in the Silicon Savannah, Konza, and take advantage of digital superhighway.
My task today here is to express and signal our commitment to lead the world in this new dispensation and to reiterate that Kenya is open for partnership and business. I invite U.S. tech firms to pursue the emerging investment prospects in the Silicon Savannah in Konza. There are many lessons we can all draw from Silicon Valley and the Research Triangle, which will make Konza City a success story.
Conservation International Senior Vice President Will Turner said that Kenya has potential for creating carbon projects removal and emission reduction to protect, restore, and improve its environment.
Conservation International commits to partnering with the government of Kenya and will continue investing financial resources and technical assistance. We commit to working with Kenya's Ministry of Environment and Forestry and other stakeholders to establish a nesting framework which will unlock greater investment in climate finance, supporting Kenya's people and securing Kenya's place as a climate leader.
For Prime Edition, I am Teresa Mutai.
Let's come back home now to the Meru County, where the Senate is set to hold a special sitting next week to determine the fate of Meru Governor Kawira Mwangaza after Meru County Assembly impeached the county boss on Wednesday. The Speaker of the Senate has already received impeachment resolutions from the Meru County Assembly. MCAs are accusing Mwangaza of gross misconduct while in office and improper management of county affairs.
Wednesday, 67 members of County Assembly in Meru voted to impeach Meru Governor Kawira Mwangaza.
It's enough for this house. We don't need further evidence.
The mover of the motion, Abogeta West, member of County Assembly, Dennis Kiogora, now says Meru County Assembly will comply to the law in their quest to have Mwangaza out of office.
Within 2 days, that is by Friday, the Speaker of this Assembly will have communicated with the Speaker of the Senate.
Procedurally, Speaker of the Senate receives the communication from MCAs through the County Speaker before the Senate Speaker informs the Senators on a pending issue. Meru Governor Kawira Mwangaza will thereafter put her defense before the Senate, similarly to the mover of the motion.
Within 7 days, the Speaker of the Senate has to convince a sitting of the Senate to hear the charges against the governor.
The senators will finally decide by votes on whether Governor Mwangaza should remain in office or not.
If the report finds the governor guilty, then now the Senate will vote. And all the members will have one vote. So the 67 members of the Senate each will have a single vote, and we require a simple majority to have the motion approved by the Senate.
There have been separate push and pull between locals and a section of religious leaders in Meru, with a group supporting the impeachment motion while another objected to the move. A high court in Meru on November 30th, 2022, barred a previous impeachment motion against Governor Kawira Mwangaza, citing a flawed process.
It is a 20-page ruling, but I'll only read the analysis and determination.
In the ruling, Justice Tripisa Cherere said Meru Ward representatives failed to follow proper procedure in initiating the motion against the first-term governor.
Stakeholders in the electioneering process want the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission to address gaps witnessed in the 9th of August elections as one of the ways of improving the country's electoral process. Among the issues that stakeholders want the electoral body to address is the implementation of the Campaign Financing Act as well as enforcement of Electoral Officers Act to deal with electoral malpractices.
Less than 4 months after the highly contested 9th of August polls, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission has embarked on a roadmap to evaluate the hits and misses in preparation for the forthcoming polls. During a session with various stakeholders, experts highlighted areas that the Wafula Chebukati-led commission needs to address.
Culture of handouts, it will never end until the donors, the stakeholders who are here, you assist us as political parties to do research on the voters themselves. Because we are talking about campaign financing. Campaign financing, it will be difficult until the time the multitudes, the voters themselves. The other day you had even the members of parliament who are saying, no, we are going to the country, to the constituencies without CDF. Because the people out there, they put a lot of pressure. A politician in Kenya is an endangered species.
The Register of Political Parties, Andy Rito, particularly pushed for the implementation of 2/3 gender rule in the nomination of candidates to fly party flags.
We were supposed to present a third of the candidates to be of either gender. I expected at least we be at 1/3. But unfortunately, we are at 11% in terms of just candidate presentation. That's an area in this electoral cycle we need to look at so that we strengthen and institutionalize political parties and strengthen them. The other issue, counterpart Chebukati did all what it takes to ensure that people adhered to 2/3, the gender principle that is supposed to adhere to. But in the end, the political parties that did not adhere to that principle went to court. But I must say, at the point at which they went to court, so many of us had adhered, very many political parties.
During the session, IBC commissioners pointed out ills committed against his staff, calling for tolerance and sobriety among aggrieved political parties.
A lot of our staff were mistreated, both at the National Tally Center in Bomas and across the country. They do not deserve such mistreatment. We call upon you as stakeholders in electoral processes to please stand with the electoral management bodies, poll officials, staff. They need your empathy, they need your encouragement, and above all, they need your guidance. They are your resource. See them as your resource.
At the conclusion of various evaluation forums, a comprehensive report will, according to the Commission, be shared to the public and various state actors as the Commission seeks to enhance its transparency. For Prime Edition, I'm Gladys Mungai.
Well, to a story we had highlighted before, where the Ministry of Transport has announced a major crackdown on unworthy public service vehicles ahead of the festive season following the spike in cases of accidents. This comes in a wake of a fatal road accident in Nakuru, where 10 people lost their lives after a trailer rammed into 2 matatus. According to the Transport Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen, the crackdown will be carried out by NTSA and traffic police officers.
Speaking to the members of the press in Naivasha, The CS accused some matatu owners of overworking their drivers during the festive season, leading to the fatigue and thus causing accidents on the road.
We want to encourage the business owners to hire more drivers and give our young people more work instead of overworking those who are already in place, and when they are fatigued, now they cause accidents in our roads.
To decongest the roads, especially now that most Kenyans will be traveling to various destinations, Murkomen said that Kenya Railways will introduce daily train services as from next week. This will target passengers heading to Western Kenya.
From 21st, around 21st of this month, up to 1st, 2nd, 3rd, when people will have returned back to Nairobi. Every day, they will carry people from Nairobi to Kisumu.
According to the CS, the program will have trains carrying over 800 passengers daily, with the plans to increase the number of coaches as per the demand.
If you book early and the demand goes higher, we can also increase the number of trains based on demand, so that people can not only struggle for the road transport.
11 women and youth groups in Isiolo County have secured an area of income-generating items in an effort to reduce cases of vulnerable groups joining violent extremist groups under the Kenya Partnership for Implementation of National Strategy to Counter Violent Extremism in Kenya by the National Counter-Terrorism Center and the European Union. The groups also received training on entrepreneurship and business skills.
Unemployment and lack of economic ventures in Kenya has been identified as a major reason vulnerable groups such as women and youth are recruited into violent extremism groups with the promise of cash and a better future. This has seen many youth leave the country to join terror groups such as Al-Shabaab. However, in an effort to dissuade youth from engaging in terror activities, the National Counter-Terrorism Center and the European Union kicked off the Kenya Partnerships for Implementation of National Strategy to Counter Violent Extremism in Kenya in order to provide economic opportunities for vulnerable groups through regional development authorities.
Start with the organized group. We train them on first on what is terrorism and how to prevent recruitment and radicalization. Then if they need every support, we train them on give them skills, of course, we get from experts.
Lack of livelihood is a push factor, and we want to eliminate that push factor. Young people need options, and of course jobs are not growing on trees, so many times you have to develop your own job.
Speaking in Isiolo County during the issuance of income-generating items to 11 youth and women groups, Isiolo County Commissioner Jeffrey Omonding said the government is keen on implementing strategies that will provide youth in the country with employment opportunities as a way of curbing violent extremism in Kenya.
We've engaged even those people who have been lured, including even their parents, that the war that they are entering is not a genuine war. This is a foreign war, people with their own agenda, which they want to advance.
Through the Ewasongiro North Development Authority, 30 women and youth groups were equipped with business skills and entrepreneurship. The groups also received, among others, motorbikes, tents, chairs, pesticides and chicken feeds.
Kwa kweli tuta benefit hata kwa hiyo skills wametupatia na hata hizo mashine wametupatia za kutu improve kupata income.
Kuna vijana tunawa employ. Hao vijana mwenyewe unaona sasa wanapata hiyo employment kwa hiyo hema, na hata hiyo system saa tuta employ vijana kuliko waingie kwa drugs na nini, wata engage themselves in that job.
The 3-year program has also sensitized youth in various counties on radicalization in Coast Region, Lake Region and Kerio Valley Region. Ronald Owili for Prime Edition.
Karibuni sana, karibuni. Niwauzie?
Ugali matumbo batia mimi.
Ugali matumbo! Na wewe?
Ipe wali maragwe.
Wali? Wewe, mchele madando hapo. Na wewe?
Nilikuwa nataka kaomena na kadoma.
Oya customer, usijali chakula yako tutakutengenezea kwa ajili yako tu.
Maisha yako, mapendeleo yako. Tunukiwa na Safaricom. Chagua bei yako ya kupigia simu au data. Piga *444# au utembelee My Safaricom app upate deal poa ya kupiga simu. Uongee zaidi au ubrowse zaidi.
Nataka chapati na crips.
Mala sausage. Nataka ugali na chuma ndio nyumba. Nyumba zetu zile tumejenga, tunatumianga chuma ya ndosi. Geji yake iko sawa. Ukikuja kukata, kuchomelea, chuma yenyewe imenyoroka.
Toshi Steel. Chuma ya nguvu.
Cheza loto, shinda pesa moto.
Nilikuwa najaribu tu nione. So jana venye nilipigiwa simu, ndio nilijua kweli loto moto ni ya ukweli. Nilitumia paybill 757070 account loto star alafu nambari ya simu. Kwa siku nilikuwa nacheza karibu mara 8 hivi. Natumia shilingi karibu 300. Jana ndio nimecheza zaidi usiku. Niliambia Mungu asante sana kwa sababu amenitoa kwa shida 1 2 3. Hiyo pesa kitu ya kwanza ni kumtolea Mungu shukrani. Fungu la 10 nifanye 1 2 3 kwa nyumba yangu. Loto moto ni ya ukweli. Ukiwa na nafasi, ukiwa na pesa, cheza loto moto ni ya ukweli anytime. Na mimi tena mtarudi hapa tu. Asante.
Shinda pesa moto moto.
Welcome back. It's now time for business. The government is to partner with the private sector to create jobs for millions of Kenyans' youth. Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua says one of the main agendas in the government's economic transformation plan was job creation.
Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua says a jobs, trade fair and other similar events would go a long way in opening up job opportunities, sharing ideas and experiences, as well as driving Kenya into the much-needed job creation discourse. He says the government is aware of the concerns raised by employers about the skills gap for about the 900,000 graduates entering the labor market annually, which is being addressed by, among others, revamping the education sector.
We are addressing our education system with the future of work in mind.
Presenters at the job fair indicated that the future of work will heavily lean on digital skills, and to prepare its youthful population for this future, the government will play a key role in ensuring job seekers have the necessary skills.
Research has over the years shown that more than half of the graduates from our institutions miss the requisite skills for the job market.
The state is calling on the private sector to work with the government to seek solutions to the unemployment problem.
Changing this situation, Your Excellency, requires close collaboration between employers and government through initiatives such as this, and we as employers look forward to that engagement so that we can play a positive role in helping enterprises to recover and also helping those enterprises.
Ababu announced that Huawei is enrolling 500 youth from the National Youth Service under its digital skills program.
Indeed, a fantastic opportunity for us to have a conversation, candid conversation, and for employers to showcase employment opportunities, and for us to explore ways in which we can expand employment and entrepreneurship for our young people.
For the jobs fair, Huawei partnered with employers in ICT, STEM and finance to offer job openings or internships for those with degree or technical qualifications. Weri Mojenga for Prime Edition.
Now, high employment among the youth remains one of the pressing socio-economic challenges in developing countries. With over 1 million people joining the job market annually, Kenya is looking at the digital space to drive job creation. Betty Kiptum spoke to the Commonwealth Secretary General, Right Honourable Patricia Scotland, who said African economies need to invest heavily in internet connectivity and digital skills to realize faster economic growth.
Hello and thank you for watching KBC. My name is Betty Kiptum. Today we want to talk about matters innovation and how it is going to help women and young people come out of the economic challenges they are going through. Remember that when COVID-19 struck, most African countries, including Kenya, had to look inward to support the manufacturing industry so as to sustain its economy. To give us an overview of how to ensure that innovation is working for the young people and building the economy out of COVID-19 and other crises, we want to speak to Right Honourable Patricia Scotland. She is the Commonwealth Secretary General. Thank you very much for speaking with us.
I'm very pleased to be here once again in Kenya.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Na karibu sana.
Asante sana.
Right. So let's just start there. When COVID-19 struck, many African economies had to get their manufacturing industry together so that they can sustain their economies. How did this now pan out beyond COVID-19?
Well, as you know, this pandemic really shattered the whole world, and unfortunately the Commonwealth was no exception. And we have 56 countries in our Commonwealth, now having been joined by Gabon and Togo in June. And 21 of those countries are therefore in Africa. And Africa was really shattered by what happened because many of our member states had their borders shut. They are reliant on imports and, of course, reliant on their ability to export raw materials in order to survive. And so what we saw was a real move onto a digital platform. If you look at the level of trade between our Commonwealth countries, before COVID hit, it was about $700 billion worth of trade. But it was rising. We had hoped that by 2020 we might have been up to 1 trillion. But COVID really put a stop to that. What we were pleased about is that trade didn't drop, it was maintained, and then slowly in the last year it has gone up. So now it's 768 billion. But where did that stability come from? It came from the fact that we went digital. And that digitalization was fueled in the main by micro, small and medium-sized businesses who themselves were fueled by young people and by women. So the big issue is how do we make sure that this digital opportunity is shared by all, because there is, unfortunately, a growing digital divide. So when we look at the transformation that we need, the opportunities that there are, they are increasingly in this digital space. So our whole lives have been transformed by technology and the ability to use 3.0, looking at machine learning, looking at artificial intelligence, looking at blockchain. All of these are tomorrow, and the industries that are reliant are wanting to gobble up those sort of skills. But we have a difficulty because many of our young people don't have those skills. And so although there's a huge growth in the need for industry to have those who can do the necessary in terms of working in blockchain, working in AI, being able to code, we don't have enough people. So if you look at Kenya, there's about a 40% of our young people in need of jobs. And yet there are masses of jobs in IT, other technological development. So what we are seeing is that if we have to take advantage of this new transformation of our economy, we're going to have to train and digitalize what we do and how we do it. And so this conference we were at here in Nairobi was all about how do we create an ecosystem in order to take advantage of the innovations that they're there.
Right.
Because we need innovation.
We do need innovation. I mean, the government in Kenya, at the very least, has been investing a lot in connectivity and just including the Ajira Digital program, enabling young people to train for these digital jobs. But do you think that more can be done?
Absolutely. And the thing that's so wonderful about the fact that there are now 56 of us in our Commonwealth is we can help each other. Right. We're learning what works, what doesn't work. We know that this COVID was the most terrible shock to us globally, and it created so much pain, so much difficulty. I don't know anyone who hasn't either lost someone or been adversely affected by COVID. But it also taught us a number of lessons. So, for example, we know now that you can have virtual hearings in courts. You can deliver goods virtually. You can buy goods virtually. You can design virtually. You can design buildings virtually. There's a huge issue for us in terms of food security. We know now that e-assisted agriculture is a huge opportunity for us. We do need an ecosystem. It can't be done just by government. It can't be done just by business. It can't be done just by foundations. It can't be done by just individuals working on their own. We need partnerships, and those partnerships are what will create the innovation ecosystem which will take advantage of the brilliance that is within our young people, the brilliance which is within our women, but also the brilliance within our men. So we need all of us.
I like that you've mentioned the brilliance within young people. I mean, Kenya's young population is very tech savvy.
Absolutely.
Right. And when you talk about innovation, you're thinking innovation for the local challenges. Yeah. How can Kenyans take advantage of the opportunity that there is in these local challenges?
Well, I think to believe in themselves, because if you look at every single innovation, it came out of identifying a problem and then coming up with a local solution. The greatest contribution is just look at M-Pesa. M-Pesa came because people couldn't get money. There weren't accounts, and it caused a revolution. We now have young people, particularly young people and women, trading and sending money. And we've got billions of transactions now taking place on M-Pesa. And Kenya taught the rest of the world. Now everyone is copying. So there are so many problems that we have which our local people are finding local smart solutions.
As we talk about all these solutions that exist, they cannot be implemented without a full understanding of the landscape, and that is where data comes in.
Absolutely.
How do you see the data landscape in the Commonwealth and in Africa, to be specific, and what can be done to ensure that the data that there is actually a representation of reality?
We have big data gaps. If you look at what the analysts are saying globally, if you say it's 1 to 100, we look at where the Commonwealth is on average, and it's 57.1, so we're behind. We need to analyze and collect that data, because everything now is going to be driven by data. If we need to make the soundest, best decisions, we need to know the facts. We need to know what to do, but just as importantly, we need to know what not to do. So the Commonwealth has created an innovation hub in which we are collating the greatest, best innovations from right across the Commonwealth so we can share them. But we're also helping our member states as to how do you collect that data, what data needs to be collected, and then how do you mine the data to have data-led policies. We need to increase and enhance the infrastructure. If we don't have a digital infrastructure, the digital divide which currently differentiates between those countries who will be wealthy and those countries who will not, will continue to widen. So in the Commonwealth, we've got the connectivity agenda, which we are looking at physical connectivity, B2B connectivity, all the ideas as to how do we make sure that there is a reality put into some of these aspirations. One of the opportunities we've taken is to develop a tool to help our member countries to assess the economic cost of domestic violence, and then to look at how it's created, how are we spending the money, and as a result of that we're able to help our countries not just to address it but to save lives and save money. We have discovered for every £1 or $1 you contribute on this issue, you can save between $5 and $20. So this is saving lives and saving money, and that comes from understanding, sharing the data.
The Queen passed on this year, God rest her soul, under King Charles now. Has anything changed for the Commonwealth? How is that going to affect the Commonwealth?
Well, obviously there was huge sadness when Her Majesty the Queen died, because when she was 21 she said it didn't matter whether her life was long or short, she would dedicate every day to the service of the Commonwealth. And we know she did exactly that, and you saw it in her funeral. The Commonwealth was pivotal. And the truth is that King Charles has been on that journey for the whole of his life also. He described the Commonwealth as one of the foundation stones of his life. He's been to see virtually every single country in the Commonwealth. If you look at the work he's done on the Prince's Trust or the Sustainable Markets Initiative now, the Commonwealth has very much been part of it. And I think it was a matter of real pleasure to everyone that when the question arose in 2018 at the Commonwealth Heads of Government as to who should be the next head of the Commonwealth, it was decided that this should not be something which was inherited. It should be something that was chosen. And I think the then Prince Charles, now King Charles III, was chosen to be the next head of the Commonwealth because of the total commitment that he had shown throughout his life, very similar to the commitment that was shown by Her Majesty the Queen to the Commonwealth. And he had been sent by Her Majesty to act on her behalf on a number of occasions, not least to represent her as the future head of the Commonwealth in Kigali in June of this year. So I think there's probably been no other person with such a long apprenticeship to be head of the Commonwealth, and I think he will do it remarkably well and is doing it remarkably well according to what everybody is saying. And I think the leaders are very confident and pleased that they made the right choice in 2018.
Mm-hmm. So as we come to a close of this conversation, what would be your closing remarks? How does the future look?
I think the future looks remarkably bright if we make it so. I think the world and each of us has some really hard choices. I think we've suffered a great deal as a result of the exogenous shocks we've been through. We've been through the shock of climate change, which then was followed with the shock of COVID, which was followed by the shock of an economic almost tsunami because of the lockdown. And now we're in the maelstrom of the outcomes between the conflict between Russia and Ukraine and the food insecurity. So those are all the exogenous shocks. But what we've also seen is human resilience. the power of friendship, the power of community, the power of digitalization, the power of innovation. And we have seen that this world can rise to the challenge if we work in partnership together. So I would say, is this easy? No. Can we do it? Absolutely. We just have to choose. And I'm so glad that Kenya is choosing, the Commonwealth is choosing, and that we have determined that we will do this together. And together, we can. So I would say to all of us, this is our moment. It's up to us, each of us, to make the choice to be the difference we need to see in the world. And we have demonstrated in our history we can do this. And we need to do this again, not just for ourselves, but for our children, so that there is a world worth living to hand over to them, and a world where we can say we made it better and we didn't make it worse. So I think we can do this.
That is a great way to end this conversation. Thank you very much for speaking with us. Indeed, we can do this, and we need to do this, not just for us, but for the generations to come. That is Right Honourable Patricia Scotland. She is the Commonwealth Secretary General. We have talked about the Commonwealth innovation for young people, for the economy, as well as matters of gender-based violence. And wherever you are, play your part, fight gender-based violence, and let us win the war together. My name is Betty Kiptum. Continue enjoying Channel 1.
Kupata rudisha pesa za Masai kama sikiza tune yako, bonyeza *811 *962 hash.
Iko mtu nasirisha mimi sana. Nasikia? Sema okay? Kama semi achukui, mimi napeleka pesa benki. Nafika benki, napatia pesa, alafu mtu mwingine nakuja na sema nataka loan, napatiwa ile pesa. Sasa mimi nashinda. Kwani mimi naleta pesa yangu wewe napatia mtu mwingine?
Kupata rudisha pesa za Masai, bonyeza *811 *962 hash. *811 *962 hash.
Feel the excitement. Relish every moment. Get 1.5 GB at 50 bob, valid for 3 hours. Furahia futa. Dial *544 hash. Make chaguo smarter na Airtel, the most affordable network.
Nilikuwa najaribu tu nione. So jana venye nilipigiwa simu ndio nilijua kweli Loto Moto ni ya ukweli. Kwa siku nilikuwa nacheza karibu mara 8 hivi. Jana ndio nimecheza zaidi usiku. Niliambia Mungu asante sana kwa sababu amenitoa kwa shida 1 2 3.
Kucheza ni rahisi zaidi. Paybill number weka 757070. Account number andika neno Loto, weka kiwango chochote cha pesa kuanzia shilingi 50 hadi shilingi 2000. Lipa na usubiri draw. Cheza kwa kuwajibika.
Welcome to the Living Room Stadium. It's the FIFA World Cup. The match is about to start. Food and drink ready. There's no space left for anyone. Come on, get your lucky chair. Take your usual spot. Even the puppy has one. It's preparation time. You can feel the tension in the air. And do you have everything you need to believe?
Coffee growers want the Agriculture Ministry to hasten the constitution of the Nairobi Coffee Exchange Board to liberalize the coffee marketing. Agriculture CSEs from 33 coffee growing counties attribute the current poor coffee prices to the trading by marketing agents who manipulate prices, calling for licensing of farmers' cooperatives marketing agencies to enhance accountability and openness.
Devolve units want a fresh round of consultations before the Coffee Regulations 2019 are fully implemented to ensure maximum stakeholders' participation. Agriculture CECs from coffee growing regions say any regulations should be geared towards liberalizing the coffee subsector and allow multiple coffee marketing agents to trade at the Nairobi Coffee Exchange.
We have farmers now who have had their own self-determination. They have registered their coffee marketing companies and they want to participate. They want to be participants in the auction directly without having somebody else in the middle to do that for them. Because they are competent enough, they are capable, they have the legal framework to be able to do that.
The CECs claim the low coffee prices farmers are receiving at the auction is due to price manipulation at the Nairobi Coffee Exchange by unscrupulous marketing agents.
Cartels can also actually control the auctions, and we know that it happens all over. So you cannot always just assume if the law has some loopholes that the same cartels can exploit. It's possible to exploit.
They want the Nairobi Coffee Exchange Board reconstituted and more agents from the farmers' cooperative licenses to make the marketing more open and competitive.
I know through the general regulations of 2019, we were given an opportunity even as counties that we can organize our people into marketing companies and we can access the auction. But we are aware that there have been forces that have been trying to limit that.
This comes as coffee prices reduced marginally during this week's auction, despite the highest grade fetching 26,000 shillings per 50 kg, up from 25,000 the previous auction. Benson Rioba reporting for Prime Edition.
Thank you, Rioba, for that report. Micro, small and medium-sized enterprises should reduce duplication of products and move towards value addition to penetrate cross-border markets. The Micro and Small Enterprise Authority Chairperson James Mureo says it is time for businesses within the East African community to leverage comparative advantage to effectively compete with the rest of the world.
According to the East African Community Secretariat, at less than 20% intra-regional trade within the East African Community EAC, which compares poorly to, say, the 47% intra-regional trade in the Southern African Development Community and 65% in the European Union.
We must remove our competition from amongst ourselves to start competing with the rest of the world and to try and identify where it is that we can together force competition that is going to increase the quality of our products. So as a country, as a community, I think we are ready for it. And from what we have seen here, this is the melting point of innovation and creativity, and we can't ask for any more.
Speaking at the 8th day of the ongoing 22nd EAC Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises Trade Fair in Kampala, Uganda, public and private sector players resolved to see loopholes to enhance trade.
A shirt which is made in Kenya is left on the shelves and somebody buys a shirt made in Turkey. Am I lying? You leave a suit made in Uganda, made in Tanzania, and you buy a suit made in UK.
We are doing well, but we can do better because there is a huge demand for our products. If properly packaged, properly marketed, you might have noted that there's a lot of duplication. The 7 member states are bringing things that are similar.
Sensitization, because we have been conditioned to think that the things that come in by air, the things that come from Dubai are the good things. But the good things are also here. That's why it's a mindset change, and we need to work on it.
And while the drum beats of progress continue, Traders from around the region point to more remedies to teething challenges.
Changamoto ambayo natamani iangaliwe kwa upana kabisa ni matangazo. Kwa sababu sisi lengo letu hili ni kuwapa watu fursa. Kama watu hawana taarifa, hii fursa tutarudi nayo.
I'm calling out for East Africans to come together to buy East African and build East African.
Kenya stands to gain from EAC's expanded market size and beyond, given that only 12% of business is traded within the EAC compared to other trading blocks. It appears there is no simple trade-off between trade and cooperation, but traders here say they'll continue to lobby for more opportunities in the East African region. Alanaoko in Kololo Grounds, Kampala, Uganda.
Mud rush, run, tightrope walking and zip lining are among the activities you can engage in at the spectacular 14 Falls in Kiambu County. The destination is perfect for adrenaline junkies keen on a getaway thrilling adventure, as Irene Muchuma Odim highlights on tonight's episode of Magical Scenes.
Welcome to the 14 Falls grounds in Kiambu County. They say you can't win unless you know how to lose. Mud Sports is the newest kid on the block. The gushing magical 14 Falls bordering this well-kept grounds brings with it a promise of exciting challenges at every stage of adventure. With a wide range of obstacles and a whole lot of mud and muddy water pool, participants not only use their physical strength but also put their mental abilities at test to overcome water bodies, among other barriers. The mud rush is a sport one can participate unaccompanied, however, in a group as such is much more fun, encouraging and arguably memorable. Zip lining, rope walking and tire climbing add to the sport activities here. Bird watching is also an attraction. The egrets flock to this destination in numbers and in style. In an ordinary day, a few minutes to 7 o'clock in the evening, the birds fly to this specific tree for the night, and upon destruction, nature at its best. They say it is not only fine feathers that make fine birds, and birds teach a great lesson. All one has to do is to listen to their song. The sounds of the bird undoubtedly brings out a jungle feel. Streams cut across this sports tourism destination, and as you settle in for the night, nothing less than peace and tranquility.
When you get here, you connect with nature. We have the forest part of it. We also have the riverine. We have places where you can do all sorts of games. And apart from that, we have the added activities like the zip lines and the trails which you have used, the mud rush, so many things you can do when you're here.
Today was fun. Kwanza kucheza na matope, tunaenda kupita kwa pipe, unaanguka, alafu zipline.
If you want to come and hang out together, catch up with your friends and family anytime you're in Thika or around Kiambu, or even from Nairobi, people are coming from very far away to come and just meet up, have a meeting and enjoy the facilities.
Irene Mchuma Odem, magical scenes in Thika, Kiambu County.
Make transactions anywhere in the world with the NCBA Visa card and stand a chance to win big. Join the FIFA World Cup 2022 when you win an all-expenses-paid trip for you and your +1 to watch 2 games. Or win exciting weekly prizes that will make your FIFA viewing experience super duper. All it takes is a swipe or a tap to pay 2,000 Kenya shillings or more with your NCBA Visa debit or credit card. The more you swipe or tap to pay, the higher your chances of winning with 1 point for every 2,000 Kenya shillings spent. Don't miss out. NCBA. Go for it.
Feel the excitement. Relish every moment. Get 1.5 GB at 50 bob. Valid for 3 hours. Furahia futa. Dial *544#. Make Chaguo smarter na Airtel, the most affordable network.
Welcome back. Fiscal pressure and supply-side risks will continue to weigh down the Kenyan economy. Rating agency Fitch is warning that this will impact negatively the country's investment position. The agency says external debt services will rise to 25% of current external receipts in 2024, up from 16.6% in 2023, owing to the 220 billion shillings Eurobond coupon redemption in June 2024. The rating agency has downgraded Kenya's long-term foreign currency issuer default ratings to B from B+.
Fitch projects Kenya's growth to remain stable in 2023 and 2024 due to strong post-pandemic growth recovery. The agency expects the economy to expand between 5% and 6% over the medium term. Fitch is further warning that fiscal tightening, high inflation and slower global growth presents major headwinds to this growth in 2023.
So I think this is now the time to start being very clear on that, and I think certainly the view that we have in FSD Kenya is trying to integrate green finance into medium-term plans, into policy.
The latest Fitch ratings forecast external debt service to rise to 24.8% of current external receipts in 2024, up from 16.6% in 2023, owing to the June 2024 $2 billion Eurobond payment. This is premised on the government's meeting its external debt obligations of $3 billion in the fiscal year ending June 2023 through a combination of official and commercial borrowing, which includes approximately $900 million in International Monetary Fund disbursement, $750 million World Bank budget support loan and an additional $600 million in syndicated loans from commercial banks.
No, the problem is very much now. So I felt and I missed a very strong statement about the need for the international community to come in to deal with it.
However, strong growth and continued fiscal improvement are likely to see the government debt continue to fall but remain above 60% of GDP and the projected 2024 55% of GDP be median over the medium term. Increased reliance on domestic debt to finance the fiscal deficit will put upward pressure on interest costs, with the Central Bank of Kenya raising interest rates in response to inflation pressures. The rating agency has downgraded Kenya's long-term foreign currency issuer default rating of B from B+ on account of external deficits, relatively high debt, deteriorating external liquidity, and high external financing costs, which presently constrain access to international capital markets.
We change gears now, and it's time for sports, where the 2022 World Cup caravan is expected to head to Kisumu and Siaya counties ahead of this weekend's public viewing of the third place and final matches of the ongoing World Cup in Qatar. The partnership between Channel One and SportPesa accords football fans a chance to watch the World Cup games at no cost. Meanwhile, football fans in Comorak watch the semi-final duel between France and Morocco in a public viewing held at Umama Grounds in Comorak, Nairobi.
The KBC Channel 1 and SportPesa caravan returned to Nairobi after traversing a total of 7 counties, with football fans getting a chance to follow the unfolding action in Qatar. Last night, Comorak residents in Nairobi had the opportunity to watch the semi-final clash between defending champions France and Africa's Morocco. The partnership between Channel 1 and gaming firm SportPesa has given football fans in Nakuru, Eldoret, Kakamega, Busia, Homa Bay and Vihiga counties an experience of the World Showpiece at no cost. The caravan is expected to head to Siaya and Kisumu counties, where the third place and final matches will be exhibited to the public.
For the third place, Siaya County, here we are coming. When it talks about the finals, Kisumu Dala, we shall be there to do the finals on the 18th, and I believe this is going to be the climax. It's going to be big, so I believe. It's going to be big. Kisumu is known for football, so there's nothing less than having fun and people coming together and just having a good time.
This tour by SportPesa and also in collaboration with KBC. Nimelan vitu mingi, tumeenda town mingi, na nimerealize watu wanapenda mpira. Watu wanapenda mpira sana na watu wanapenda football, especially this World Cup. Na pia vile nimeona pia mashinani kuna talent. Mashinani ukiangalia tumekuwa na marapa, tumekuwa na madansa, tumekuwa na watu wanapepeta mpira pale, wanasakata boli, na hata umejionea watu wanapenda hii kitu.
Bernard Kumu, Sports at 9.
Hashtag World Cup iko KBC. Remember, Siaya and Kisumu, we are coming your way. Now, Kenyan boxer Sarah Achieng is set to defend her Commonwealth super lightweight title in Nairobi on Friday night. Achieng will slag off against Chidetsa Hokuma of Zimbabwe in a 10-round duel to be staged at Nairobi Charter Hall.
Celebrated Kenyan boxer Sarah Achieng has upped her training at the dusty Kariobangi Social Hall for over 3 months ahead of her clash with Homakoma on Friday night. Homakoma travelled to South Africa to up her training for the bout for over a month before her encounter with Achieng, who defeated Anisha of Malawi on the 20th of October 2021 to lift the then vacant belt.
Mimi nachiamini ni ile kitu nakitoa kutoka ndani ya moyo. Ringi ndio itaamua. Si ametrain na mimi nimetrain. Sijatolewa kwa kitanda mimi. Nilikuwa na train.
I'm not here for vacation. I'm here for business.
Kenya Professional Boxing Commission President Ruben Dolo said the 2 belts to be contested on Friday night have been fully sanctioned by the Kenya Professional Boxing Commission and their corresponding international bodies.
This is what we want. We want titles.
and then you put your country on the right map. You are representing your country. Your country is a champion. Now, they are representing their countries. This is very important. To be a Commonwealth champion is not easy.
Another expected mouth-watering title fight of the night pits Kenya's Consolata Musanga against Salimat Tibesigwa of Uganda, while Musanga and Tibesigwa will battle for the 8-round pugilist syndicate of Tanzania belt in the women's super bantamweight category.
Taekwondo coaches have urged for concerted efforts so as to grow the sport in Kwale County. Taekwondo stakeholders reckon that the game held huge potential in the county only if proper investment and harnessing of the talent is conducted. The stakeholder, who included Diani Tigers Taekwondo Club officials, called for pulling together of resources so as to uplift the standards of martial arts across the counties. Meanwhile, Regional Taekwondo Club emerged to overhaul winners of the Kwale County Taekwondo Championship held at Diani Tigers Studio in Diani, Ukunda. The club scooped a total of 6 gold and 1 bronze, while Mombasa Cement and Diani Tigers wound up in 2nd and 3rd positions respectively. Mombasa Cement Taekwondo Club won the overall title in juniors category, while Sil Academy from Homa Bay and St. Elizabeth finished in 2nd and 3rd position respectively. The 2nd edition of the annual championship attracted a total of 260 participants drawn from 20 teams across 8 counties.
The pupils were really happy, so we need to encourage them in school and both at home for this good job that they have done. Remember, they are still young and it is according to age. So Taekwondo is something that needs encouragement, and I hope they'll do better and be good people in future.
We have a lot of people out there with a lot of talent, but they have no support. So we are there mentoring them, trying to help them out there, because Taekwondo is part of life and can make you have a good living as well as part of your career.
Ukiangalia kuna mambo ya usafiri kiasi, unaona, na mambo ya kumanage hizo ofisi ambazo tunafanya hizo activities, sababu tuko na ofisi pia sisi, na ofisi zinahitaji kulipwa kila baada ya mwisho mwezi hitaji kulipwa. So ni changamoto ambayo kwanza kwa kweli sisi tunahitaji watu, wadau, marafiki wote wasongee karibu ili zoezi letu liweze kuwa rahisi na sisi kama vijana.
National referee, my role is to oversee the tournament, to help the Tiger team, also to mentor the young coaches, because that's another area that is lacking. We are not mentoring the upcoming teams and coaches.
Well, that's it from the world of sports and sums up tonight. And I will be seeing you again next week on Thursday. From me and the rest of the team, we want to wish you a very good night.
Feel the excitement. Relish every moment. Get 1.5 GB at 50 bob, valid for 3 hours. Furahia Futa. Dial star 544 hash. Make Chaguo smarter na Airtel, the most affordable network.